Right, so here we are again, back with GameBehemoth, and my name's Jacob, of course, and today I'll be doing a Let's Play Hearthstone for you. It looks like I have to win 2 games with Hunter and Mage to get 40 gold here, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that and discuss with you the basic element of strategy for a Mage deck, because it's probably the first class that you'll all start out playing, since you have to play Mage to get to the tutorial, and you unlock a few extra cards that way. It's also, you know, it's probably like one of the simplest and yet most powerful like classes. Obviously they're all going to be powerful and, you know, unique in their own way, but because Mage has sort of like direct damage spells and area effects and sort of a good mix of utility abilities, if you play it right, you don't necessarily need a lot of expensive cards to build a good Mage deck. You just need to time your fireballs, time your polymorphs, and, you know, get some good champions out there. So I've built this deck. I'll go over a few of the cards you might need to get sort of just a rudimentary competitive thing online. And, you know, I'm missing a few things here as well. If you go into crafting mode, you can see all of the cards. You see I don't actually have a lot of things for Mage. If I had some more of these secrets, that might allow me to build sort of a different type of deck than what I have going on. But, you know, you make the best of what you have, and so something like a Gazetan Auctioneer is useful for almost anyone's deck, because every class has spells that they can cast. There's only 2 basic types of cards. It's champions and spells, or whatever you want to call them, creatures. And so every time you cast a spell while this creature's on the field, you'll draw a card, which is of course very useful. These ones draw a card when you play them as a battle cry on cast, and they also increase your spell damage, so those are pretty much like an essential core card for any kind of deck that relies heavily on dealing damage through spells and area spells and stuff like that. The Water Elementals is a core card for Mage, and obviously you want this because it's got 6 hit points, and the more hit points you have, the more difficult it is for your opponent to kill all of your shit and then kill your hero. Same thing, Stormwind Knight. The nice thing about this card is because it has charge and it also has 5 hit points, it's likely to be able to use it more than one round in a row, or at least force your opponents to attack it. A lot of the cards that have charge in this game, like I'll show you a few of these neutral cards here, they don't... Oh, I don't even have... Oh yeah, something like this can attack immediately, but it's only got 1 hit point, so it's pretty much a one-off. But the Stormwind Knight, you know, you can send it out there in case you need an extra 2 points of damage to finish something off, in addition to your Frostbolt or your Flame Strike or whatever it is. You're going to want to have the Sorcerer's Apprentices. I'm only running 1 of these, and only 1 Arcane Missile, Mirror Image, etc., because these low-cost spells, if you're not careful, they'll fill up your hand, and then you'll just be casting all of your spells right away, and then you won't have anything to play from your hand. So you need to make sure that if you're going to do something like that, you have more card draw. And I've gone for more of like a mid-tier 4 and 5 cost. Almost all of my cards here are 4 cost actually, because they combo well with other things. You know, you can cost a 4 and a 1 and a 4 and a 2, and if it's, you know, on and on. When you get to 10 mana crystals starting out, then you would be able to easily cast 2 of those cards in the same turn. So let's go right into ranked mode, because YOLO, and hopefully lose some stars here. Not with my good road deck, but with this Mage deck, because I have to win at least 2 games to get that quest and get the gold from it. Da, 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 da. Find me an opponent, a worthy opponent. Another nice thing about this game is that it almost always seems to find you a match fairly quickly. I've never waited more than like not even 60 seconds, a minute to find a match. So it must have a very large player base and, you know, an efficient sort of servers, and the games don't last very long, so it's probably got a lot of people turning over the games fairly quickly. Looks like I'm going up against a priest deck. This could be good for me because, you know, the Mage doesn't have a lot of defensive abilities. So if I go up against an aggressive character, like with a rush strategy or something, it's possible that they could beat me before I draw enough cards to to kill all the champions and shit. But against this Mage, you know, I'll be damaging him with my Fire Blast and he'll be healing shit, so I've kind of got to conserve my resources and make sure I finish off his champions before they get healed here. Nothing to do on that turn, only 1 mana crystal. I try to play my turns pretty quickly, not even just because, you know, I'm recording a video and I want to look cool for you guys, but also because it saves me time, it saves my opponent time. and it's an indication to my opponent that I'm serious about the game as well, and that I'm not just, you know, taking their time for granted and and fucking around. He's gonna blow the mana crystal right away to summon an Imp Master. At the end of your turn, it summons an Imp. So that could be hard for me, and you know, he can heal this thing. It takes damage to do that, apparently. It deals 1's damage to itself, but I can kill all these Imps fairly quickly. But I'm not sure if I want to... Well, we'll just see what happens here. No, that's probably not a good investment, actually. I'll have to say that. If I don't deal like 3 points of damage to it, he just heal it up and I'm not going to be able to kill it. But soon, very soon. See, all of my cards are like 4 and 5 costs. This is sort of the difficulty you run into if you build this type of deck, is that I don't have a lot of, like, you know, 2 and 3 to play in the early game. So if the opponent starts playing champions right away, I'm going to be several turns behind as soon as I get enough mana crystals to do something. Now, I don't know why he didn't heal his champion there, because he definitely could have, so maybe this guy is not quite on top of things. Definitely need to get something out here that can kill him right away. He's got 5 hit points. We'll get the Yeti out here. Give him a run for his money.
Job's done.
The next turn I'm going to want to cast these Arcane Missiles if he's already healed this thing up to 5, or if I can't kill it with my Fire Blast, depending on the other champions he plays. But first the Auctioneer, right? I talked about this card, so each time I cast one of these spells, it'll give me more cards in my hand. If you run out of cards and you can't play anything on your turn, your opponent's pretty much just going to beat you, because, you know, you're not going to do much just casting your hero power over and over each turn, while they still have cards left over. So you definitely want to balance like a mid and at least a mid-game strategy. I try to go for like an early mid-game, because what's really going to determine the outcome a lot of times in this type of match is, well, this type of game in general, you know, even like something like Magic the Gathering, is that whoever has the most strong hand starting out is probably going to gain, you know, inertia and momentum and be able to, you know, continuously kill everything that you put on the board, despite, you know, necessarily if you can just blow up all of their shit with like an area effect. And so it's good to stock up on things like Arcane Explosion. I'm running 2 of those cards, and you want to cast that in conjunction with something like an Azure Drake, or just even like a Kobold Geomancer, or, you know, Ogre Magi, whatever, that increases your spell damage, so that it'll do more than just 1 point of damage to everything. And that also affects something like Arcane Missiles. In fact, well, I guess I'll save that. Get the Water Elemental out there. The Yeti and the water kind of go nice together, wouldn't you say that? Fire and the ice, or, well, the ice and the water, or whatever. Drawing first blood on this guy, but you see, even though he's dealt damage to me so far, we've completely even hit points now just because of this one card that has a big attack score of 4 and 5 hit points. It's probably one of the most efficient, you know, 4-point cards you're going to get, just for the sake of bulking up your front line and making sure that you keep up with the tempo of your opponent casting spells on you and their own champions and stuff. So with 4 attack, it's going to be able to wipe most things directly off the board in a single hit, you know, up until you start casting champions that cost at least 5 or 6. Well, for Argus. Now this has 7, I'm going to go ahead and use it to attack this guy and save my Yeti. There's 7 hit points there. And the big Water Elemental, I talked about having the hit points. So you see right now I'm trying to bulk up my front line with this mid-game strat of playing large hit point creatures that have sort of a decent attack score as well, and then buffing them with like a Defender of Argus. This is another card that's useful for pretty much every type of deck. Including rush decks, because if you're playing a lot of small champions that cost low, that have a low mana cost, then you're definitely going to want to buff them up with a Defender, or I believe there's a card called like a Shattered Sun Cleric that also gives your cards +1, 1/1. This also gives them taunt though, so that's part of the reason why I like it. Which makes it a good counter strategy, you know, if your opponent is if your opponent is really spamming you with creatures, you're going to need some taunt out there to make sure that you don't take overwhelming hit points early on in the game and allow them to, you know, finish you off with some spiking burst of damage or something. So But he's in a really compromised position right now because these creatures with these big attack scores, he can't let these, you know, if he goes for another round, then he's going to be within a critical range, and I'm just going to spike him to death with a fireball and a frostbolt and like spamming this fire blast over and over on my turn, even though he can't heal himself for 2 points of damage. So you see right there, recovering some hit points. It's a good call, although. Oh, and this is nice. What can I do with this? Leroy Jenkins. Let's throw him out there right away. Never get tired of hearing that. And some arcane missiles on the board as well. Get rid of these Dragonling whelps. Oh, fuck are you, Dragonling? And big 10 damage round for me. I can actually sneak in some more damage here. I can probably finish him off this turn. Well, not quite. Yeah. We'll just give him a taste of death here. So also another thing, you want to make sure that you actually play some cards. You know, if you just save up all your cards in your hand and you don't play anything because you're going for some big combo, then it might be too late. You know, by the time that happens. So now, lucky for me, because we've kind of returned to a neutral state here as far as the board is concerned, but I have just enough damage to finish him off before he continues healing himself. And I talked about the nice thing about these units with charge, and you saw that the Leroy Jenkins card has charge as well. It allows you to attack on the turn that you play it. This puts you kind of a turn ahead of the regular tempo of the battle and the flow of combat and everything. What's the big thing to say? Like, oops, I just happened to blow you up with a frostbolt or whatever the fuck it was. But yeah, I recovered a star, and I still have to win one more game to get 10 gold also to complete my quest with this character, so. And a golden arcane intellect, well, I guess that's great. It's like a regular arcane intellect with a gold border. There's gold versions of like all of the cards in the game, including the heroes. Actually, the hero tablets themselves have like a golden with like a special effect inside of the image, like the glowing eyes or some shit. But you actually get that by winning 500 games of ranks with that hero. So I'm like nowhere near. Yeah, I've got like 50 games with my best heroes and shit. So let's go right back in here and hopefully level up my rank a little bit. I like reading off all these little things that come by because it's a bit different every time. There's like a different slew of little potential opponents, you might say, on this wheel of opponentry. But it always lands on a worthy opponent. Imagine that. So my computer's freezing up. It's in Hearthstone. I better not try to run anything. A real game, right? In Crisis 3. So, you know, I've kind of hit a plateau as far as my skill level on this game is concerned because at this ranking, everyone is definitely kind of knows what they're doing and has like a clear strategy in mind for the decks. And so you're not going to get hit by accident, and they're going to put up a fight, and it's going to be tough for you. I really want to keep this Azure Drake in my hand. It's so good. But it costs 5. I can't use it. I can't use it for another 4 turns. There's no point in keeping it. And the other 2 cards are useful. Harvester Golem is a bit earlier. I want to have that out on my 3rd round for sure. And I can also summon some mirror images here, which is going to be nice, defending my front line from attack. Defending my useful golem, and then follow that up with the Yeti. Should be a strong early start. Now the Druid, he's going to want to build up his deck. You might think that a Druid would rely heavily upon like high cost creatures because they have several spells that increase their mana pool to a great amount. And also a lot of buff spells and things like that. But if you want to run an early game strat with creatures and simply buff them and try to overwhelm the opponent, it's definitely possible, since you can actually attack with your hero as well. Playing that type of character. Just see how you like my golem. What does this thing do? You can't even see, like, what does it have, like chainsaw hands or something? They're outside of the frame, so you don't really know. It's like a barrel with a cloak on it, held together by some string and like a burlap sack. His champion looks much more impressive. This is the Druid of the Claw from Warcraft 3, if you've ever played that. What can I do here? This thing has taunt and everything. Oh man. But the shield of master. I'm just gonna overwhelm this guy with golems. I don't know. Seems like a viable strategy. Get the arcane missiles on it as well. Make sure it takes some damage. He might try to buff this, keep it on the board and attack my hero, but it's still too early for that. He should clear these harvester golems off the board. I'm going to overwhelm him with champions in a minute because I have nothing but high cost champs in my hand. Well, mid cost, 4 point, like I said. It's my favorite range because as soon as you hit your swing in mana crystals, you can play like one of these every round, and they have a pretty efficient return of attack and damage stats, to the extent that it's probably going to take your opponent more than one card and maneuver, more than one creature attacking, etc., in order to take out something that has 5 hit points. And if it's only got like 2 or 3 hit points, you can possibly do that with a single spell or whatever the case may be. Now he's played a Keeper of the Grove here that silenced my Harvester Golem, so it's not going to perform its Death Rattle ability. As you can see over here, the damage to Golem will not be spawning for me there. But I do have the benefit of being able to take out his Keeper in one turn. You see, having just solid 2s, it's got 4 hit points, so cut him in half right there for the Might of Stormwind or whatever the fuck. And since I have this mana, I'm going to go ahead and cast this now and get these mirrored images out here. This will prevent his hero from being able to attack my golem to kill it with his hero power, so he'll have to attack these minions with taunt first before he does anything else, unless he wants to play like... Well, no, there's really nothing he can play at this point. He needs like a swipe or some card like that to deal damage. It's only 5 mana, and he needs to buff it up with a Kobold Geomancer. That's my favorite type of deck right now, is buff spell damage. I don't actually have one built like that though, because I've been building for mid game. I found it's more successful in rank. Even though if you do cast a bunch of champions that have like spell damage +1, now he really did cast a swipe there. Wow. He killed both of the things I have on the board except for the minions with taunt. So perhaps that wasn't the best use of that at that time. But it did bait him into using his spell instead of casting a champion and doing something else aggressive towards me. Continue to spam him with his Fire Blast. Keep up the pace of battle for you guys. Squelch.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry because my Yeti is going to, well, whatever Yetis do to people, rend you apart with his bare hands, right? Now, what is all this? He's got some kind of legendary card here that basically returns to life when, after I kill it. It's not going to be good. But I can kill this thing in one stroke, or I can force him to attack me with it. And I think I'm going to force him to attack me as opposed to actually attacking his champion right now, because he's not going to be able to kill this unit with his hero's power unless he casts something to buff his own attack. And his champion is going to have to cast the stupid mirror, attack the stupid mirror image before he can even attack my Yeti or anything. So hopefully he doesn't like buff this creature and turn it into some huge nightmare before I can get off a few more rounds here. I don't have any direct damage spells that I can eliminate it, so it's going to wipe all of my champions off the board. Oh, what is this terrible thing he's casting on me? Destroy an enemy minion with taunt. Okay. That seems fair. Well, you get to see some impressive cards on the board here at least. It's not boding well for me, but at least if I polymorph this thing right now, it'll lose its special hero power where it returns to life, so it's important that I do that right away. The next thing, this Black Knight, I guess I can charge him. What's all that? Anyway, got a slight advantage of hit points here, but it's really anyone's game. he kind of evened the score with that. That's a big creature 6 cost. You know, the more you play, you'll eventually find some legendary drops and cards like that to enhance your deck building experience. The best thing I have right now is a Leroy Jenkins, and it's not quite that useful. I feel the wrath of nature. I felt it. And he killed me with a sheep. Great. Oh man, there's nothing I can do here. See, my hand's gone off too late now. I'll stick it out for a few more rounds just to see what happens, but it's likely that he's going to overwhelm me here now that he has more cards in his hand. And he's got a big minion on the board with taunt that I can't kill with anything that I have showing. Normally if I saw something like this, I might just concede the match right away to save time, and that's something that you can do at your prerogative. Yeah, he's got nothing but legendary cards in his deck, but the problem with his strategy is that all of his cards are kind of expensive, and so it's good that he's playing Druid to, you know, increase his mana pool and stuff, but depending on the regular tempo of the game, you would kind of be able to overcome cards like that just by playing like a Hex at the right time, or assassinating them, or whatever the case may be, using lower cost cards to basically gain an advantage of tempo over your opponent. If he's paying 8 mana for a card, you're only paying 5 mana to assassinate it, then why does my game keep lagging like this? Yeah, but it's over, so
You win this one.
you win this one. Yes. Hi, Ragnaros the Fire Lord. This is the character from World of Warcraft. For those of you who actually played the game and are also interested in spending time on even more Blizzard games, in addition to the ones that everyone else got, like Diablo 2. I mean, how many of you spent like hours playing that game, right? I mean, days, weeks at a time. And then same thing for Warcraft and Starcraft, whatever your niche may be. And then of course WoW, the stealer of lives, devourer of souls and wallets, and etc, etc.
You are a fool! I am going to crush you and throw you into the wind!
I do need to win one more game with Mage, so we'll go for like a best 2 out of 3 here thing. And if I fail this, I might cut the episode short and just go with a different Let's Play with a different theme here for the next installment. Don't have very much gold right now. I'd like to do a segment on the arena and show you how the card draft works and that sort of thing, and talk about deck building. When you're kind of going blind through the draft, it just gives you like 3 cards at a time, and you draw them that way. So it's also possible that with the popularity of this game sort of burgeoning, that Blizzard's servers are actually being overwhelmed right now on Battle.net, and that's why the game is running slowly. Because normally I wouldn't expect my computer to have lag. I mean, it's not the greatest gaming rig in the world, but I mean, this isn't exactly Crisis, so I think I should be alright. And if their servers are having a difficult time, you know, hosting the game or whatever, it would cause it to lag a bit. But I haven't experienced very much of that, and so I won't call them out on it just yet. I was trying to get this Arcane Missile card in my hand starting out, and it's like I said, you know, you could run 2 of these in your deck, but the problem is if you've only got 3 cards and 2 of them are Arcane Missiles, you're not going to have an easy time keeping up with the opponent's hand that way, if they're playing champions that have more than 3 hit points each round. The nice thing about the Mage is that she has the sustainability of the Fire Blast. Compared to something like Steady Shot, yes, you deal damage to the hero, but it doesn't help you clear the board of your opponent's creatures. And that's something important to consider. Not only being able to cast cards like, for instance, maybe a Mind Blast or a Fireball that can spike the opponent, but something that can damage the creatures that he plays as well. He's going right off the bat with the coin here, an aggressive strategy. A weapon, allowing him to attack my hero directly. I personally would save. It's only got 2 durability, meaning he can only attack with it twice. I would probably prefer to save that. In fact, I'm not even going to play a champion this round because I don't want him to attack the creature with his little weapon. I'm just going to shoot him with my fireball. I want to save that. I just want to cast it on him to deal damage, but I'm not going to be that greedy. Yeah, this guy. See, he should have just held this and waited for me to start deploying champions. And once he starts deploying creatures, forcing me, you know, to put something on the board there, and then he could immediately counter them with his eagle horn bow by shooting the creature to destroy it. But he's already wasted both of the charges on that now, so it's gone. And it's gone. And I still have a full hand of creatures here that he's going to have to cut through. Take it. Oh, he's got another one of these things. Really built up his deck with these red bows here. It looks like he plans on attacking my hero directly now. And just attempting to basically deal all of my hit points as damage before well, before I can respond by, you know, building up forces and spiking him. So it's possible that he'd be able to do that. Steady shot and 3 points would take me down to 15 damage. He would need like 7 rounds to kill me, assuming he doesn't have any minions with charge or anything else that he's going to be attacking me with. So I'm going to need to play something with taunt here in a minute. Probably the Defender of Argus. Going to split these two heroes and give them taunt and additional increased stats. Is, like I said, it's almost like a must-have card for any deck if you're really looking for a competitive play, because it's those little things like that. You know, every card that costs 4 mana is only going to have, you know, 2 to 4 hit points and 2 to 4 attack. You know, so if you're giving everything that you have +1, it's that slight advantage, you know, in addition to casting your spells maybe, or whatever it is you may be doing, that's going to give you what you need to finish off your opponent.
My shield for honor.
Trying to bridge this gap here as quickly as possible so that he doesn't finish me off with spells. There's not much that the hunter can do as far as directly damaging my hero by casting, though. I wouldn't think, other than perhaps like explosive shot. No, that's only for minions. He really doesn't have any direct damage, because if he did, it would obviously be very overwhelming with the steady shot ability as well. I don't know why he silenced that. He should have silenced the water elemental, right? I've only got 5 rounds left before he kills me with that. I need to be careful. But I will be able to deal enough damage here, I think, in just the next few rounds, to probably take him out of the game here. But I can only cast like 1 creature a turn, that's the only problem. Let's see what kind of secret he has in play here. It's always a nice surprise. The explosive trap, I figured that's what it was. My Ash Drake, cast these magic missiles. It now does 4 damage instead of 3 because of the spell damage buff, as I mentioned before. And ideally killing both of his minions with that random draw there. He's only got 1 more round now that he'll be able to survive, unless he can kill like most or all of my champions. Because there's 8 points of damage showing right there, and I can finish him with 5 last. He might be able to blow up one of these things. He might be able to use like a split shot or perhaps some charge creature to take them out, but yeah, the old kill command. Wow, he's really cutting me down there. Oh, whoa. Wow, you ass. Well, he bested me with that stupid ready shot. I didn't open my hand there as soon as I should have. As you saw, I put off playing the golem for a minute because I thought that by pulling the delayed strat I would overwhelm him more quickly with my minions. But he definitely had his clear thought in mind as to how he was going to kill my hero there. So, but you get the general idea with Mage. I'll finish this quest on my own here. I appreciate you all watching. And if you want to see more Hearthstone, please like the videos and comment on them, and call me a stupid dick or whatever it is that you want to say in your YouTube comments.
Don't worry about it. I call him a dick all the time as it continues to ramble on.